Hello everyone, thank you for joining me, Amber Bach, for my Week 8 presentation on employee privacy and social media. So I decided to do my presentation on the news video 1 on public employee right to privacy, because actually I have a scenario that I'm going to explain in a second that relates to this, and it actually happened this week. But in this video, a 24-year-old teacher at a public school in Georgia had the unfortunate decision to either decide to resign or face disciplinary action by the school itself due to some photos that were found by a parent on Facebook, which she thought her Facebook was private. So now she's working with a lawyer to try and get that all straightened out, because obviously she feels that this was wrong, or she was wronged by the school to have to be put in a situation where she is forced to resign or other disciplinary action by the school. So a scenario that actually hits close to home, one of my best friends I went to college with, she is a behavioral therapist, and this week, beginning of the week, she texted us and asked us about security settings with Instagram, Facebook, all of that stuff, because what she thought she was private, but unfortunately one of her clients, it was either a client or the client's parents, Googled her name, and they located, when they Googled her name, a photo from her Instagram popped up. But so even though her Instagram on the actual app is private, it is still under a Google search when you Google her name. So you can still see that photo despite it being private when you're in the actual app. So she just had to go through additional privacy settings. Thankfully, in this scenario with her, she did not get fired or have any disciplinary action, because, I mean, she rarely uses social media anyway because of the field that she's in. And the photo that they found was just a photo of her and her boyfriend at like a wedding or something. So it wasn't anything bad, but still, it's the fact that they were able to Google search her and find a photo, and she just doesn't want that for her in the workplace. So my thoughts on the issue in this CBS video about the teacher being fired for her vacation photos where she was drinking alcohol and not breaking any laws because she's over the legal limit to consume alcohol. But although it may seem unfair, it is an unfortunate reality that public sector employees do have to be held to a higher standard. Now, don't get me wrong, I do not think people should be going and digging for information on their students' teachers or anything like that. I mean, I understand if they want to know kind of who's with their kids for a majority of the time, but there should be a line that should be drawn where the quote-unquote stalking aspect should be limited. Because like I said, in this situation, I don't see that it was grounds to be fired because she wasn't breaking any laws. I do see where they could see that as being unethical, just because maybe promoting alcohol consumption, although it was a vacation and we don't know anything more, whether she's an actual alcoholic or anything like that, but to our knowledge, it's just consuming some alcohol for fun on vacation. But like I said, as a public sector employee, you enter an implicit contract with the taxpayers who pay your checks to be held to a higher standard, to be ethical and moral essentially at all times, because who you are as a person outside of work will reflect in your work life and how you perform, your productivity, etc. So even though this wasn't right in the school firing her or forcing her to resign or otherwise have to succumb to disciplinary actions, it was necessary as a public sector employee to just show that even though it was something that occurred in your private life, essentially there's no such thing as private life anymore. Alrighty, thank you guys so much for listening to my presentation, and can't wait to hear all of yours.